Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
There has been a lot of discussion about the proposed changes to the pension system in Grenada. It's quite a complicated subject, so we thought we would help to explain some of the key points over a series of short videos like this one. The first thing we need to do is to understand where we are, where we have come from, and where we want to go. Grenada has emerged from one of the most successful structural adjustment programs ever, certainly in the Caribbean. The government did this while enacting programs to protect its citizens, with reductions in income tax, removal of income tax on pensions, and increases in wages. But most importantly, they did all of this without the loss of a single job. We only need to look around at our neighbours to see what a remarkable achievement this really is. Barbados, for example, had a 10-year wage freeze, and workers only received a 5% increase after elections. But this was very quickly followed by significant job cuts. In Grenada, we have had numerous increases over the last 10 years, even as we went through the structural adjustment, and again, not a single job was lost. The government has also honoured its commitments to pensioners in all cases. The case of Mrs. Armstrong proves this point. The government has honoured the interpretation of the courts and paid out all monies due to ensure that the letter of the law has been followed. Two of the main areas of concern are the issue of gratuities and the issue of retirement age, and we're going to do separate videos to explain each of these in more detail, but the main things to remember are these. A gratuity is not a bonus. It's much more like a loan. A person retiring gets to take some of their money sooner rather than later and pays this back over time. This can be both good and bad. More money now means less money later, and we will discuss the issues surrounding this in our next video. But the key thing to remember is that the percentage of the gratuity doesn't change the amount that someone will receive. It only changes the timing of when they will receive it, and that too much too soon will leave too little later on. In relation to the second item, retirement age, it is no secret that everyone is living longer, and much of this is due to better healthcare, better nutrition, a safer working environment, and other government policies that protect people and help them to live longer and more active lives. That's the important part. People aren't just living longer, they're aging more slowly, and many still want to contribute beyond the current retirement age. Grenada has actually been rather late in changing its retirement age. Dominica is at 62. Trinidad and Jamaica are at 65. And in Barbados, the current age of retirement is now 67. There is also another matter of fiscal prudence. Because people are living longer in retirement, the total amounts paid out by government are increasing, and this needs to be balanced against the money that is coming in to ensure that each and every Grenadian can receive the retirement benefits that they are entitled to. And in many ways, that is what this discussion is all about. We need to ensure that whatever policies we agree to now are sustainable, and that they will work now and into the future. Let's think about all these things seriously and look at all angles. If you do, you will see the constraints that we must work within to achieve our overall objectives of ensuring that everyone has enough money to live comfortably in retirement. When you put it all together, it becomes fairly clear that the government's proposed solutions are very close to the ideal and are the best way forward for Grenada. Let's keep working together for the best of Grenada.
Party time, party time again, party time, party time again, yeah, 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 yeah. You have liquor in your cup and put it up, party bad up, and it's party we party we party we love, party we love, party we love, party we party we party we love, party we love, oh yeah. Jay-Z, instead of flaunting the promised land, trying to be Kim Kardashian. Man after a scene, school bag making pillow and Suzuki. Nobody could convince me that education is the key. So if you see a school picnic and BBC she going and party, tell she for me, education is not the key. And if you education is not the key. Education, education. Maybe I have it wrong, but the key can be education. Well, I don't know, man, I don't know why this stupid song playing on radio station. Sparrow telling we, quite insultingly, without CXC, we stand a chance in society. But I know for sure book make after sense, and subjects not intelligence. We have so much scholars in this place, but most of what they learn just sitting there going to waste. Still them school girls vehemently want to prove education is the key. If that is the key for every door, they would not be doing yoga in Escudo. They'll work diligently to save themselves and their family, instead of posing on BlackBerry, spreading legs and wings more than KFC. Boy, after I see school teacher eating them children curry, and nobody could convince me that education is the key. So if you see
this guy saw super,
and she,
you and that mouth of yours, boy.
tell she for me, education.
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott,
Not doing
and I'm here with you until the 12 o'clock hour. I'm flying solo today.
education is not the key. Education,
My good buddy Devon is not on with us today.
but the key can be education.
See a special good morning to those of you listening via the various radio stations on terrestrial radio. No, not extraterrestrial radio, is radio as in radio, you understand? Nice.
Man, I do want, well,
97.5 City Sound FM,
Canadian
89.5 CR FM,
for your bride.
92.9 Sister Isle FM,
Won't function.
and then Brooklyn at 94.9.
But respect, gratitude, honesty, they form a strong combination key. And after that solid key make education.
Also online at Hard Talk Grenada on YouTube.
Them girls didn't buy my
Yeah, we're live on YouTube, you know.
sparrows.
You have one of those smart televisions, you can actually pull us up, yeah?
Was the key.
You go to YouTube, you look for Hard Talk Grenada, and you could get us live. You could also get our old programs there.
Will be
Yeah, we don't have to hide. Whatever we say, we stick by.
Instead, most of them thinking about how much degrees they go bend. Man,
Also, www.hardtalkgrenada.com. That's our website. Yeah, we've got a website, www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
that education
If you go there, you'll be able to see Hard Talk, you'll be able to hear Hard Talk, and so on.
between stage 1 and CXC.
And we're also on Facebook. Yes, we are on Facebook. And we are on Facebook on Hard Talk Grenada Live. So if you go on Facebook and you look for Hard Talk Grenada Live, you would find us there as well. So we all over the place, huh?
Maybe I have it wrong.
Good morning to those of you joining us on the live this morning. Carol, I'm seeing Kim and Candy, Sonia. Good morning to you folks. James, I just see you popping in. So good morning to each and every one of you. We hope that you all are having a fabulous, fabulous morning today. To the staff at the various radio stations, we also hope you're having a fabulous day.
It's the key to success. I want you to understand that the most important part of education is academics. Yes, man. Whoa. Calling upon parents and guardians, sending your children to school. Cause a good education in this life would be their greatest tool. Respect to the elders and the teachers and those in a
Yes, the young ones are back out to school today.
sit down to learn. Children, now listen attentively. Because the world,
And we hope they're back to school until the end of the school term, eh? Yeah.
there is no time now to
We
be.
have no right to be involving children in big people thing, ain't it? Nice? And we all agree on that? Nice.
Work hard, think about your future. Because I want all you to be qualified with an intellectual power. Child education.
Wow, wow. Cafe.
Yes, and you never know you could be an esteemed lawyer like Peter Devine. Qualification is what you need if you must excel, and you could be a great mathematician just like Dr. Kit Mitchell. Inspiration is what you need. Children must prepare, and you could be a woman rising in parliament like Miss Emlyn Pierre. Education is what you want, but it comes with hard work. But you could be an economist, I tell you, just like Nazim Buck. When I was a young boy, I never liked going to school. Somehow I felt that I knew it all, and my friends all thought it was cool. You know what? I was a role model. What I did, my friends emulate. Some call me a troublemaker and say that I will not graduate. When I heard these things, I got so frightened. Decided to clean up my act. I grabbed my school book and study. Every exam, you know, I pass. When was graduation? I graduated, top of the class, and the teachers all gave me such wonderful and complimentary remarks. Education is what you want. Go forth with.
Yes, we're going to open the phone lines early today, 440-7377.
Just like William Shakespeare. Qualification, I want you to have via dictionary.
And for those of you out there in the diaspora, 347-329-3101.
Inspiration is what you need. Raise your self-esteem.
And because we've been discussing the industrial climate so much that we've not seriously went into a discussion on the 2019 budget, yeah? We haven't, have we?
Be an intellect, just like Hollis, Liverpool. There is a saying, educated people just might end up a fool. But that must not give you the rights to think. You should not go to school. So much emphasis on common sense, but that is for who to drink. All who thinking like that, tell them I say, their brain will become extinct. Academically, go forth into the world. Your brain, it has no limit. You could be a master of anything, child, as long as you study it. Never settle for second best. Always try to reach your peak. Common sense alone cannot make you sit.
And we have a call online. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Sheldon. Good morning to Grenada.
Morning.
I want to say a couple of things. I really appreciate how Minister Pierce spoke yesterday when she would have called the program and gave her clarification on stuff. I also appreciate the Prime Minister's address to the nation. However, I mentioned something when I called last time, but I think you misinterpreted what I was saying. Because we are a part of CARICOM, we have free movement of persons and goods. And in a case like what we just had, where you had the unions calling out teachers and public servants to strike on something that they have absolutely no legal grounds to, I think we can have qualified persons come in from outside. I know the minister would have spoke about persons like, for example, retired teachers and stuff. But we can have people coming in, qualified people to also teach our children. It's not illegal. We have free movement of people. And I want to say to the teachers, listen, the unions, in my humble opinion, this is not hard talk or NMP position. My humble opinion, the union don't really have your interests at heart because they would tell you all the truth. And I see persons like the union leader, like Ms. Rachel Roberts and Mr. Lloyd and Lewis, the attitude towards the negotiation hasn't been good. It's kind of like a dog-dog thing, and I personally think that's wrong. These people do not have, in my humble opinion, the communication skills. They don't know how to sit across a table and have a dialogue. And you cannot demand a loan. A loan is not demand. A request is being made. Is either a loan could be granted or not granted. An advance, if I go to my boss for an advance, is either he can give me the advance or he can't. And if he could say, look, I can give you X amount. It's not my payday yet. You know, so I have to accept. I can either accept or reject. And I think we should look at that. And yeah, that's all that I have to say about that. We have people from CARICOM qualified people, we have free movement of people, so it is legal for persons to move from place to place within the territory and work, and I think that the government should look at that. Also, quickly, before I go, we also must start thinking to teach our children via electronic means instead of having teachers in the classroom, because computers and stuff won't strike. Once you have it working, they won't strike for gratuity. This is my personal take, and I want Grenada to have a good day. All right?
All right, my brother.
So, have a good day too.
All right, wonderful. Yeah, because I think part of the entire thing, and in fact, before I get to that, let me take this call. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Sheldon Scott.
Morning.
You know who is that?
Hey, yes, my good friend from up in St. Patrick. Don't worry, I make out your voice.
Yes.
What job are you giving this morning?
Yes, I'm so happy that the children is back to school. And yes, my name is Sheldon is the girlfriend Nadine here.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad that children is back to school from yesterday today. And I was listening to the program that the union and them don't ready yet. So I understand they don't ready yet. And I'm happy as the Prime Minister talked. I listened to the minister yesterday, and I was listening to you yesterday.
Wonderful. So the
I
kids...
don't call to give any trouble. I just call to share my opinion that the children and them should back to school.
So your kids are out to school today?
Yes.
All
and
right.
This is your friend Nadine from Sutherland.
All right, my love.
Listening to you right now. And Devon nowhere. I miss Devon. Where is him this morning?
He had to go and see after the hand this morning.
Yeah, I'm there listening to you. I lie down. I paid everything already, and I lie down listening to you as usual.
Okay.
Keep up your good work.
All right.
I hope to talk to you soon.
All right, my love. You enjoy the rest of your day today.
Yeah. I still love you anyway.
Nadine, behave yourself.
Yes, I'm glad that Sharon is back out. You understand that? I hope the union listen to what we have to say. And I hope they pay the 25% and listen to what we say.
Okay.
Mr. Boson, good morning to you.
Okay, I'll make sure he knows.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear. Bye-bye.
Bye, Sheldon. Love you.
Love you too, my dear.
Take care.
All right. Yeah, that's my good friend Nadine. Yeah, man. All you hear the love, how the love does pass. All you feel like you get in love like that, so hey. We've got a caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Let me see. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Scott.
Morning.
Yeah, I just want to, I haven't been speaking on the budget, and I believe it's time that, I start saying something on it. I believe that the presentation of the budget by our Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, gone down well, was visionary, and according to our times now, building resilience, because you see what climate change has.
Caller, is it possible you could call us back from another line, because we're having absolute problems to hear anything that you're saying there. Apparently where you are seems to have a bad signal, so is it possible you can call us back, please? Yeah, for some reason it's sounding like grainy and rainy. All right, 440-7377. Feel free to call at any point in time today. And yeah, we have to discuss the budget. 347-329-3101 and 440-7377. Those are the numbers for you to call and get on to the inside of today's program. Yeah? But before I get deep into the discussion on the budget, which we will be getting into today, we have some aspects of that we need to discuss as a people. And we have to stop discussing and start doing. Because the government puts certain things in place, be it this government or another government, and then when you don't have the buy-in of the people, when we, the people, even though it might be the best plan, it might be funded, it might be there, and we don't make use of it, at the end of the day, the plan, as good as it is, as necessary as it is, would not be come to fruition in the way that it ought to have come to fruition. But before I get into that, and for those of you that were listening a little earlier, it's important that you would have listened clearly to what was being said by the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. There's a continuing problem, whereas people are putting out items at the side of the road around the time that the garbage trucks are passing, and the garbage truck picking it up. Imagine you now come off the port, you go and you collect your barrel, you leave your barrel outside your house, close to the time that the garbage truck is passing, and the guy is passing and see the barrel in the spot that you usually put your garbage, and they take it and toss it in the garbage truck. You can't blame them. And it may sound funny. A lot of you may be laughing until you're under the desk right now. But this has happened. This has actually happened. One person, they're going to a wedding, so they put out their suit in a black plastic bag. They put it out outside and into the garbage truck. People go and they send up their groceries, the different things, and they have it in bags and so outside in the general area that they may have garbage. They might run down the track to go and drop some and they're coming back for some. Garbage truck passing same time into the garbage truck. You might go cussing a neighbor and say the neighbor take it, but it's not the neighbor. Sometimes it's a garbage truck. So you have to be careful what you leave. Some people, they leave various items that they leave in the general area that the garbage truck would collect stuff. And people have lost barrel and they just come off the port and collect. The barrel and the box and thing gone. Straight in the garbage. You feel them fellas go in and open and watch to see what inside. They one thing a garbage man ain't doing. He ain't going and open that to watch and see what in there. It outside, it means in the calaboose, in the truck. So they're throwing it inside there. So be very careful with the items, especially now. It's the Christmas time now, and as such, a lot of persons are doing a little clean out and so, and sometimes in the cleaning out, you put out stuff to air. So you take out stuff that you might have inside, stuff that you fully intend to keep, and you put it outside in front of the house in an area where it'll get some sunlight and that kind of thing. So maybe you shampoo it or you wash it off and you want it dry. Might be a carpet, might be whatever, or some other item that you go and you put outside. Or you might put out a box there with a new TV in it. You might have the box with the new TV outside with the full intention of bringing it and put it inside. And leave it outside there for an extended period and come back and not see it. No, nobody and thief it in the garbage truck. So be careful with the items that you're leaving outside. I just think it's important to say that. I heard that in the program and it's very important to say that. We have a call online. Good morning.
Hi, Sheldon. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm fine. And how are you today?
I am good.
All right.
I've been trying to get onto your program
Oh, goodness. But
since last week.
Oh, dear. But you've got on now.
Yes. I'm looking at the strike, and that lady, Miss Roberts, that woman has so much anger in her she could burn down a city.
Oh, boy.
I mean, yeah, because and sometimes when we're in leadership position, we cannot be biased. Yes, the teachers, you are in a union with whether teacher, whether public, workers, you're in a union, you're there to represent the persons, but you're not supposed to be fighting, be so angry at other people, and I'm looking at them and I'm listening to them and I'm, what is the issue? What is the fight about? And I think they have misled the people. They have misled their representatives into thinking, okay, the 2%, but they have not really explained the whole thing to them. And some people did not understand that it's not just 2%, but there was something more, and I think if they had gone through with that. So it makes me wonder, and I've been looking at a lot of comments about people, how the Prime Minister said Tillman couldn't run a saltfish shop, but he has bankrupted the country, and all kind of nonsense. They said, if the government if the government that I support would be so reckless as to give the people this amount of money and not consider the other people, then I cannot say that I support a caring government. So they want, but they're not thinking about other people. They don't have the country, and looking at it, they don't have the country's best interests at heart. Because if the government said to you, we cannot give you that all at once, because this is what is going to happen to the economy, you know, how could you say you have the country's best interests at heart and you want to strike and you want to fight and and call the prime minister all kind of names, and you know, it is sad. It is really, really sad that we have to reach in that situation, Sheldon. And I think that, you know, the people that the union represents, the people that the union represents must look at that carefully. Okay?
All right, my dear. All right, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Yeah, and this is the thing. I didn't want to go too much into the union thing today, especially since they're at the stage right now. No, they're not in arbitration. Like some people may be afraid of arbitration. So they're not in arbitration right now. They're back to negotiations. They're back to the negotiating table. And as such, I wanted to kind of stay away from it. But it is topical, and people have been speaking about it, so you must speak about it. And I'll say this, that at no time was there the intention not to give teachers anything. They're getting 100% of what they're supposed to get. The difference is whether they get 2% as a loan up front. Well, that's not even the thing, because the 2% has been removed from the table. Or whether they get 25% as a loan up front. Yeah? Some of them say they don't know when they go dead, so they want the money up front and that kind of thing. I don't quite agree with the terminology, but the thing is this. No one has said that they don't deserve it. No one has said so. That's not the issue. Whether they deserve or not, where you have some teachers going on some long soliloquies and monologues about all these sacrifices they make. Nobody told you don't deserve it. Get real. Wake up. Nobody said you don't deserve it. That's not the issue. Deserving it is not the issue. The issue has been whether your country, the country you say that you love and you belong to, can afford to pay it at that level at this time. We have a caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello. Okay, seem to have lost that call. Yes, 4407377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers. So again, the issue is not whether you deserve or not. That's an affront to anybody with common sense speaking to try to argue that. No one has said you don't deserve. The issue is whether or not the country and the economy can absorb that at this point in time.
Hello.
Yes, we have a caller. Good morning.
Sheldon.
Morning.
Yes, it's me.
Yes, go right ahead.
Sheldon.
Yes, my dear. Go right ahead. You're live. You're live, caller. Go right ahead.
Yes.
Listen to us on the phone line, please. Don't listen on the radio. Go right ahead.
So, Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain, right? I have a child what is in Form 5. He's 16 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
His name is Steven Charles. He's 16 years. He's going to school going down for I forget his name. He's going to school, but he's in Form 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why the union and them having problems in giving them teachers and them the 25%, right? In St. Max, yes. My son, Kieran Charles, is going to school in St. Max. And he is in Form 5. And he said that when them get strike, when the teachers get strike, he's feeling hot because he can't go on loan because he's in Form 5 looking to graduate in a while.
Mm-hmm.
16 years, right? And we have other children who've been Form 4 and they're hurting. So why the union have to make those teachers and them go on strike, which is, I don't feel the union should have teachers on strike. It's that they're making these children and them hurt, making them children and go and match, And why we teach them, students and them just also be in big people thing. That is big people thing. The union hurting them children and them.
Okay.
Plus it's my child. Yeah, other children who's in from 5, from 2, from 4, and from 3, which is the hurting.
Okay.
Which is the union and them those also we having them children and them matching with card, which is I will hurt for the children and then plus my child, which is 16 years and is in from 5 and is 40. I hope they listen to us, what we have to say, and the head table today, Friday. So this the union and them had to get they had to get watch the step or do something better than that.
Okay, my dear. You enjoy the rest of the day. Behave. Nadine. All right, my dear. So we will talk again. You enjoy the rest of the day. Well, I understand. I understand. And as I said, I don't want to go too deep into the union thing today because...
They have to pick up where they left out.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to listen to us.
Okay. All right, my dear. Yes, indeed. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. As I said, I didn't want to get too deep into the union thing today. The stage it is at right now, because a lot of parents, even last night, I had quite a few people messaging me whether there's school today, Let me say this, though. There has been school every day. The Ministry of Education never closed the schools. There were no teachers. And as such, it was up to you whether or not you sent your children and if the children would have had anyone there to supervise them. But the schools were never closed. The teachers withdrew their labor. They were not there. And I see some of them on Facebook right now complaining because apparently they see the pay slip. But they may find it wise to speak to their union leadership on that particular issue. Because as we know, in every country that there are unions and that sort of thing. Yeah, some countries may not have unions in the normal sense, you know. North Korea might have a union, but you understand how that union does operate and thing, you know, when the boss say things like that. Yeah. But in countries where you have unions, when the union says, we are going to make you withdraw your labor, they usually have a couple $1 million inside in a bank account that they can draw on and that they can then use to pay the wages of the workers who have withdrew their labor, be it in the public or private sector. It doesn't matter whether it's the public or private sector. Once you have a union, the only unions does not strike funds is some kind of Jukutu union. Unions have strike funds. So I have seen, over the past few hours, I've seen some teachers in exasperation and wondering where the remainder of their wages is going to come from. And I think the person who called you all out on strike is the right person to speak to on that. We've got a caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi, morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I saw a program yesterday morning.
Hello? Oh, boy, these... Your friend, you're going to have to call me back. The problem there is I don't know, because there seems to be a problem, not with our system here, but with mobile phones in general for the past couple of days. Yeah, be it both networks, be it Flow or Digicel, there's been a problem, number one, with data and with calls. So it seems to be affecting some of the calls that we're receiving as well here today. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Scott.
Morning, sir.
I just want to know something. How will they know who coming to school and like teachers and who not coming?
You have to sign a
Do
register.
They have a register?
Yeah. So you think what kind of Jukutu thing you think running there? If you're a teacher and you're going to school, you must register that you're going to school today, your day today, you miss a day, whatever.
Okay.
Government must keep records of those sort of things.
Okay.
Therefore, how would you be able to discipline a public worker who doesn't show up to work at all for 2 months then? Somebody just decided they ain't showing up for 2 months. They must sign in.
Okay.
Yeah. All
I
right,
thought
my
you had
brother.
someone from the ministry that was placed there to monitor who are coming and who not coming, you know?
There's the register that's there. That's how they monitor exactly what is going on. So they would have known who showed up and who didn't show up.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, my
All right.
brother. Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. That's why a strike fund is so very important. And I don't think a union that probably, not estimating the number of teachers and the amount of money that each teacher pays as dues into the union, I would estimate that the unions should have a couple million sitting inside there. Because I'm looking at what are the expenditures of the unions. Okay, union T-shirts. That's if the members ain't paying for the T-shirts. And Labor Day. What other expenditures you really have? It's interesting. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Is this Hot Talk?
Yes, and you're alive?
Yes. I would like Mr. Sheldon to explain to the people what happened in 83 and what happened until...
Caller, your call, you see, that's the same thing I'm speaking about with the calls. Your call dropped in 83. Several things happened in 83, huh? You had NIS created Pension Disqualification Act. You had October 19th. You had October 25th. So I'm not sure exactly which one you were speaking about and which direction you were going. So, caller, if you get an opportunity to call me back, because I don't want to go and speak on something that wasn't what you wanted me to speak about. So give us a call back when you've got the opportunity and we could continue on that conversation. Yeah, so I'm saying that because I have a lot of friends who are teachers and a lot of them who were involved in the strike. And they are, well, it's not to say that they were not forewarned that this situation would be happening. When Minister Joseph spoke at the post-cabinet press briefing, he said this was a decision of cabinet. The union leadership said, don't worry, they won't take care of that. So, well, so I believe that they should be speaking to their leadership on this particular issue at this time. All right? Nice. 440-7377. Yeah, you can't speak to government. You got to speak to the unions. Yeah, I mean, all of us have the little credit union to pay, the bank to pay, courts to pay, you know. You have the little thing in, what does call that place again, Fast Cash and them. You have those other things that you've got to pay. So it is important that individuals ensure that they speak to their leadership in relation to this issue. Yeah, you can't, legally the government and any employer, the government is an employer and any employer has the right to withhold salaries for days not worked. And that is apparently what has happened. 440-7377, 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of today's program. We have a caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Sheldon. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Just inquiring, you said that there is a register, but what happens when even some of the principals didn't show up at school? There were some schools that was virtually locked down, right? You saw some of the principals in the demonstrations and so. And then the other thing, would the union also be responsible for paying the NIS as well?
Well, my brother, the employer would be responsible for paying NIS. NIS is a percentage of your monthly salary that has to be paid to the National Insurance Scheme by law. Okay. So the employer has the responsibility to pay that. That's one thing. That's a separate something.
Okay.
So when it comes to whether the union would, no, that would have to come from government.
Okay, then.
So that part, yeah, I could understand that part from government, but my friend, it's a sad situation. I don't think it needed to get to there. Mm-hmm. I think that if cooler heads had prevailed. Now, remember, I don't put the government at fault here, and I don't put the government at fault because I'm a supporter of the government and a supporter of the ruling party.
Yeah.
It's if you look at this from any realistic, sensible, and critically thinking perspective, the moves made by the unions were wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Legally, they should not have gone that direction.
Yeah, very much so.
They went from point 0 to 150 miles an hour without even touching 20 or 40 miles.
Yeah, and
They went straight to the end.
So, like, I don't want to use the word in the right, but you feel that there is legal basis for what you're doing. Why not take the matter to the court? You know, I feel this should be the easiest route to go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really a problem for me.
What I will do, though, because there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation going on out there, especially in relation to the Irvin McSween case.
Okay.
There are people who have absolutely no legal training. They were never lawmakers or law enforcers or any sort of thing that are out there speaking about the law as though they know what they're speaking about, and they're so sure because somebody tell them that. And it's unfortunate. What I will attempt to do, and myself and Devon and Nazim, the team in studio, what we will attempt to do is to get Sir Lawrence Joseph to come and give an interpretation of the Irvin McSween case. And don't look at me so, I might even call Justice Byron.
Yes.
No, I could find Justice Byron.
This thing really need to be dealt with at a level like that instead of all the street courts and kangaroo courts that's setting up all over the place. Everybody have their legal opinion and passing it on as a law and all of that. And one other thing, it just slipped me here now. Yes, this thing about, I'm hearing the union, Public Workers Union president talking about disrespect, and even the TAU have disrespect to the workers. And I had an opportunity to see some of the placards, some of the demonstration and thing, and the caricature of the Miss Beryl Isaac, you know, drawing her looking like a big old toad, and all the derogatory things they had to say about her, and even the Prime Minister. You know, and I wonder why people are talking on who's being disrespected and who being disrespected, whose tone, they don't like whose tone, and to me they're the ones that are sounding war bells and talking about jail and when they're big enough to think and touch my money, and you know, I think the arrogance came from that side, right? And to talk about disrespect and thing, and I even saw a placard, you know, pay me my whatever in money and all of that, our pension, you know. And
to see educated
these are people who have teach children under their control or jurisdiction, you know. How could you face a classroom next day and demand respect from my child when you behave in the most derogatory manner on the street, you know? But personally, the attack on Miss Beryl Isaac, how they portrayed her in the placards and the things they had to say, I think it's really distasteful, really distasteful, and I think they owe that poor lady an apology, really. I think that's my contribution. So God bless you.
Thank you very much. 440-7377. That's 440. And I kind of want to go on to the budget, but the thing is that it seems as though people still have things that they want to say about the union impasse, and I'm going to allow people to say that. And when I'm discussing the budget, because I understand some aspects of it and not the entire thing, I don't want to go speaking on things that I'm not 100% fully clear on. So I had attempted to get a particular individual in studio with me today to discuss various aspects of it. I can speak to certain parts, but I was unable to get them. We have a caller online. Good morning. Good morning.
Sheldon, pleasant morning to you, sir.
Morning to you as well.
All right. Now, the lady, I think that had called and her call dropped. I hope the question I want to ask, I hope, you know, it will enlighten her. No, so Sheldon, listen, because, you know, sometimes, you know, I have common sense, so sometimes though you might find me asking the same question, you know, more than once. You know, in contrast to people who are dollars and cents, sometimes this question, they understand it, but maybe I don't. And for those people who don't. You know, listen, in a nutshell, what was the status of workers joining the public service after April of 85? I know you talk about the 20th of April. After April of 85, was they legally entitled to a government pension or just the NIS? First question.
Okay. With the exception of 56 persons who were employed into the government service between the 4th of April 1983 and the 22nd of February 1985, only those 56 persons qualify for a government pension along with all the other persons who were in the service prior to that date. Anyone who was entered into the service after the 22nd of February 1985 is not, I repeat, not entitled to a government pension by law.
All right. Now, let me follow up question with the same question. Now, what are the steps government have taken to rectify the status of these persons that came into the service after 85, in terms of pension? What steps government have taken to rectify the situation with these individuals?
Well, what this government has decided to do is to regularize the entire system in two phases. One, for public workers who are on the established staff, and secondly, for public workers who are on the unestablished staff. There are two categories of workers that work within the public service in Grenada: established and unestablished. Established are those that are appointed by the public, the commission, the Public Workers Commission, the Public Service Commission, the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, and the Commissioner of Police. Yeah, the Commissioner of Police can make a person a public servant. They can swear in an officer and that sort of thing, right? The Judicial and Legal Services Commission, they deal mainly with people like the judges, magistrates, etc., etc. And the Public Service Commission deal with other category of workers. So a person will have a letter from the Public Service Commission that they were employed as a clerk typist level 2 in the Ministry of Finance as of what date in 1984, or what date in 1997, or what date in whatever year. A police officer would have a letter from the Commissioner of Police that they were appointed at this date, right? At this time, at this date, by the Commissioner of Police. Except for the rank of inspector and above, who are appointed by the Public Service Commission, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
now,
inspector and above are appointed by the Public Service Commission. The junior ranks, they are appointed by the Commissioner of Police. If
so
I'm
why you
correct,
say that not every person in the public service is entitled to a pension?
No. And even those persons who are appointed by the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, Public Service Commission, and Commissioner of Police still have to spend 26 and 3/4 years within the public service. Now, they could spend those years unbroken, or if they spend a certain amount of time and then they leave the service, they travel or wherever, and they come back and they spend another amount of time, they can apply to cabinet to join that time so that they could make the amount of time to be able to qualify for a pension.
Okay, next question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 25% that's been talked about, who are the workers that is legally entitled to that 25%, if any?
The 56 workers between 1983, the 4th of April, and the 22nd of February, 1985, and all workers in the system prior to the 4th of April, 1984, are the only workers that are guaranteed under law that 25%. No other worker within the government system qualifies under any law in force in Grenada or under the Constitution of Grenada for 25%.
So in a nutshell, you are telling me that the majority of persons that was on that that was involved in this protest march last week, they are not entitled for this 25%, even for that 25%.
Not legally.
All right.
No one, and let me clarify here.
Mm-hmm.
No one is saying that they don't deserve it. I know some of these individuals that leave the ministerial complex all weird hours of the night because they're making sure that some documentation was done, who would go in on a Saturday and even a Sunday or a public holiday to get certain jobs done, who would work on weekends, who would go above and beyond the call of duty, do things that are not part of their job description. So no one is saying that they don't deserve it. Yeah? But it is the ability of the country to absorb it at this time. But go right ahead with your next question.
All right. Now, Was the deduction in public servant salaries that stayed away from work, did that materialize?
From what I'm seeing by some postings by some teachers, it does seem so.
Okay, so let me wrap here. I want to say, to some people out there, you may not like this government. Maybe you did not even vote for this government. But the fact of the matter remains, which no one can deny, is that this government have outperformed the last government in all economic and financial related matters. And two, no other government have done more for workers in this country in the last 35 years like the NNP have done. Mr. Scott, you have a pleasant day, sir.
All right, thank you so very much. And I must say, too, because they keep referring to the Irvin McSween case and the Irvin McQueen or McSween, one or the other, yeah. They keep referring to that case. I have it somewhere here, I'll find it. Yeah, so they keep referring to that case and the Hermelin Armstrong case. In both cases, both individuals got into the service before February 22nd, 1985. So you cannot view those persons in the same light as anyone that got into the service 5 years ago, last year, this year, or so on. That is why government is attempting to put in place a system. Now, they have already guaranteed a pension. So pension is not the point for discussion. I saw even misguided public workers and teachers. I saw them with placards there about they want their pension. Pension is not the issue. The unions, the same unions that brought them out to march, and the government, both agreed on 70% of your last salary as your pension. So that's already agreed to, and that's a massive victory for the trade unions that they just refuse to go out there and beat the chest and say, look, we achieved that. The present president of the Grenada Union of Teachers needs to pat himself on the back. Mervyn Andal, Kenny James, all the other people who were union leaders of the Grenada Union of Teachers before did not achieve that. They did not get the restoration of pension. The present leader of the Teachers Union got that. The present leader of the Public Workers Union got that. So I'm trying to figure out, if you were able to achieve something as a union leader, you already achieved it. It is guaranteed. Government say, yes, we're willing to do that. We're going to do that. So you've won that battle. Yeah? The only thing you have not agreed with is gratuity, an upfront loan on the amount over 12 years on retirement. Yeah? So that the person who joined at 18 and decides that they're going to retire at 45, 46, whatever, and they're retiring out of the service, that person either gets a 2% or a 25% upfront. No one is saying that they are not deserving of the 25%. What we are saying is, can the country afford to pay the 25%? No one is saying that they didn't make sacrifice. One of the worst things to do is to do something good for a person and then come and constantly remind them that you do good for them, It said a lot. When I saw certain people talking about all the things that they do, and I do this and I do that and I do this, it said something about them as an individual. That it wasn't totally altruism. Yeah? It was about the individual. So I've looked at that. I've listened. I've paid attention to a lot of what has been said out there. And I'm not cussing teachers. And I will never cuss teachers. I would not do it because it is wrong. I haven't seen my political leader do it. I haven't seen the Prime Minister of the country do it. I haven't seen the Minister of Education do it. I haven't seen any of the 15 MPs in total do it. And I'm sure when we have the Senate that we will not see them doing it. So why should I go and cuss the teachers? I ain't cussing teachers. There's no necessity, there's no need, and it's disrespectful. Because they are the ones that help form the minds of the young ones. Can't go cussing them and so on. But there has to be a clear understanding. I think many people were misled. Because they're not even understanding that at 2% or 25% or at 5% or at 0.5%, at the end of the day, the persons retiring will still get 100% of their pension. The 2% or 25% or 10% or 6% or 0.5% is a percentage upfront payment, not an additional payment as in you're getting your pension and then you're getting this. It's an upfront payment that each month is deducted from your pension until you pay it back. That's what it is. Not a gift, not a upfront, just a lasha money that they give you. As some people say, they give you a lasha money. No, it's your own money that you're getting early up. Some people are saying, well, in case I dead, give me my set of money in case I dead. But what happens if you live? And then you end up now with because as a good friend of mine said, it's negotiating in reverse. Because what you're ending up is a situation where a person that could have been going home with $1,900 a month is saying, don't give me the $1,900 a month. Give me $1,500 a month. That's what's happening, you know. That is exactly what's happening. While the government is saying, let's give you $1,900 a month for the next 12 years. You have the union saying, no, we want $1,900 a month. Give us $1,500 a month for the next 12 years. Does that make sense to any of you? Does make sense to me. 440-7377, 440-7377, 347-329-3101. And folks, remember, when you're calling, pay attention to the phone line and not to the radio. All right? Pay attention to the phone line and not to the radio. So, yeah, the caller before they asked, and the only persons that are guaranteed under law, the persons between the 4th of April 1983 and the 22nd of February 1985, and that's some 56 persons, and anyone that entered the service prior to that. And still not just those persons, but they have to have been in an established position, so they must have a letter from, because some people probably there and they're thinking that, hey, so I have money to get and get. No, you have to have been in an established position. An established position is that you got your letter from the Commissioner of Police, or you got your letter from the Public Service Commission or the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, that you have your letter of appointment from them, and the particular date between that date and the date when you have left the service, you've made 26 and roughly 3/4 years. We have a caller online. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Scott.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm there.
All right, my dear.
25 is 25. Touch me money now. Touch me money.
My dear, behave yourself.
Well, right about now, Hope AL, LL, and RR go and pay the teachers the 25%.
Well,
Hope they go and pay them now.
Let's see what happens.
Yes. Have a good day.
All right, my dear. Because a lot of parents would have been very upset with the Ministry of Finance had they gone ahead and pay, because, I mean, the same parents who pay in the taxes that pay in the salaries are the ones that had to go and pay people to take care of the children during that period of time. Yes, somebody's asking, what will happen to a person who on retirement has only 26 and 3 months service? Will she be entitled to a gratuity and pension by a prorated basis? What happens in an instance like that, my friend, is that they can receive what is called a special pension. I did hear Honorable Oliver Joseph mention that. And that in itself, the formula for that special pension has to be reviewed. Yeah? But that person can then apply to the cabinet. And cabinet can decide whether or not that person would receive a special pension. Also, for other persons within, like unestablished and other persons within established, that may not have got to 26 years and 3 months, they can apply for a special pension that they could get in conjunction with the NIS. So the person can apply to cabinet, and cabinet can make a decision on that one based on the information before them. Good morning. Okay, we lost that caller. Yeah, cabinet can make a decision based on the information before them in a case like that. All right? Yeah, so because you have people that sometimes they make it like that, 26 years, 3 months. Sometimes they make a 15 years. Sometimes they make less than the required amount of time. but they can make an application to the cabinet for a special pension. The thing is, I was listening to some radio programs, and some people who got special pension, in other words, they did not qualify. The cabinet says, you have made a contribution. Let us take that into consideration. And whereas you did not qualify, and they could have easily said, we're not going to give you a cent, they said, we're going to give you a special pension. We have a caller. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hello?
Hi, morning caller. You're alive. Go right ahead.
Now, if someone joined the service at age 18, and after 26 and 30 years, can they get a pension from government?
No. That person will get their gratuity.
Hello?
No caller. What that person will get is they will get their gratuity on their retirement, but they will not get the pension until they attain the age of 60.
Okay.
So between the periods, for instance, if that person is, let's say, 46, 47, that person will still have to wait until they attain the age of 60 before they start getting a monthly pension, but they can get their gratuity immediately on retirement.
Okay, so at age 60, they will get the two pension?
They'll at age 60...
One from NIS, one from government?
Yes. They will get the two. That would make up the 70% of the last salary. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, my brother.
All right, good, sir.
Nice, yeah. And questions like that help bring clarity to the issue. Not a whole discussion on Keith Mitchell is a wicked man. And, the Capsec wicked. I was listening to our program and I felt so sorry for that wonderful lady, Miss Beryl Isaac. If that lady didn't used to pray, if that lady was not a praying lady, that Miss Beryl Isaac. And I hope they know when they say all kind of nasty thing about her, it falling back on them. You see, praying people don't interfere with them. I might not be the most spiritual people, but I ain't interfering with praying people. Don't interfere with praying people. Yeah? So, I'm saying, I was listening to a radio program, and an individual who got special pension, in other words, they brought their documentation to Ms. Beryl Isaac. Under the law, legally, when you check the laws of Grenada, the Pension Act, the NIS, that person did not qualify for a pension. Ms. Isaac put the document before cabinet and asked them to provide that person, due to their needs, with a special pension, a person who did not qualify. You know what that person do? They call a certain radio station on a certain radio program and they cuss Miss Beryl Isaac how she wicked. All they getting is a special pension. They did not make the 26 and 3/4 years, They did not make it. In other words, they did not qualify. But they pick up the phone and call and cuss the same person. Miss Isaac could have just lose your paperwork, It happens. Or she could have decided that, look, this person doesn't really have a case, They don't qualify, Just forget them. If they've made according to my good partner, Sean, they've made their 500 contributions to the NIS. Because remember, you need to make 500 contributions to the NIS to qualify for the pension. I wonder if I think I make my 500 contributions already, So I could retire just now. I go retire just now. Wait and see. As soon as I hit 45, I'm retiring. Oh no, but I still gotta wait until 60 to get a pension. Yeah, but it could be based on the last salary. I'm retiring just now. Yeah. Let's take this call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Sheldon.
Hi.
Yeah, I was listening to the program there, and I heard he was saying a guy called and he asked if you start to work at the age of 18 and you make 26 and 2/3 years and you resign at the age, let's say, about 45, you get in your pension, your gratuity, and then after when you're 60, you get your pension. But it's like something I don't understand, because if you're working from 85 March, and what are you telling me, I'm not entitled to get a gratuity?
No, because the law, the Constitution says that you have to be paid a pension according to what law is in place at the time that you enter the public service.
Yeah.
The law in place in March of 1985 would be the National Insurance Scheme Act. That would be the contributory pension scheme that was in place. That's what a lot of people are not understanding. Because that would be the law that's in place at that point in time.
Yeah.
If you had been in February, the law was enacted in February, but you would have been in the service before that law was enacted, and the law in place at that time would be the 1950 Pension Act. And the Constitution also says that if during the time you're there, there's a law that's in place that is better than the one that is put in place, because remember, NIS, part of your salary going towards it.
Yeah.
The 1950 Act, nothing from your salary was going towards it. It was all government. And you had the 25% gratuity and so on.
Yeah.
So the NIS Act was not as advantageous as the Pension Act. At the point in time, those people between 4th of April 1983 and 22nd of February 1985 got into the system. That's why they had to receive the 1950 pension. So it's the law in place at the time that you enter. So everybody that entered from March, those persons entered, the law in place at that time was the NIS Act. Yeah, so that's how it's looked at. So even if you make the 26 and so at that time, between then and when you retire, you still would be viewed under the NIS Act. But what government is saying now?
Yeah.
Government is saying the NIS is not enough.
Yeah.
The unions are saying the NIS is not enough. So both are discussing how to get you up to something similar to the 1950
but
Act.
it's unfair to me because I make 34 years, and they're telling me I'm not entitled to a gratuity.
Yeah, because you're under the NIS Act, which does not give a gratuity. But what is being discussed now, my friend, is to make sure that even if you're retired already, that you get a gratuity now. So the discussion now is on the level of gratuity you would get, and also to increase the monthly payments that you're getting. So outside of what you would get from the NIS, because I'm sure if you've worked 30-something years, you paid your 500 contributions.
Yeah.
So you're getting something from the NIS. What government is saying and what the unions are saying, both parties are saying, let us increase the amount of money that these people get on a monthly basis by government making up the difference. So you could receive 70% of your last salary. Also, every year that amount is going to increase. As public workers get an increase, you will get an increase as well in the amount of money. And on top of that, that since if you were in an established position in the government service, that you would also receive, at the end of these negotiations, a gratuity.
Yeah, but let me ask you one question again. Okay, let's say at the age of, I make 38 years, let's say 38 years in the service, and I go home and I get in a pension, and I died at the age of 61, let's say 60 and a half, and a couple months after. What is the benefit my family will be getting?
No, well, for those who have died, who would have qualified and have died, their estate will be getting the gratuity and so on. They will be getting, not the monthly pension, but they'll be getting the gratuity. Yeah? So, for instance, whatever gratuity you ought to have get, those persons who died, their estate will get it. So they have children, their children will get it. They have their wife would get it, whatever.
Yeah, but I ain't entitled. I fall in the situation where I'm not entitled to. So if the pension starts and I only live 60 and a half, yeah, I'm not qualified, as you say, with the act. And I start getting the pension and I die at the age of 60 and a half.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but it's unfair.
No, but I understand where you're coming from, and that's where gratuity comes in. That's why the gratuity is a payment on the pension, you know.
Yeah, because, well, maybe there's something a lot of people don't understand. Because
the gratuity is a payment on the pension.
If you're not qualified to get the gratuity and you die at the age of 60 and a half.
No, but here's what we're trying to do. The unions and the government is trying to make everybody entitled to a gratuity. That's what they're doing. I understand. You don't have a gratuity because you came into the service after the point in time.
Yeah.
Government is saying that is wrong. The unions is saying that is wrong. And they are both working towards making sure that you get a gratuity now. But there is a discussion now as to the level of gratuity that should be given to you. Because here's the problem. Knowing that you have persons like yourself and a couple hundred persons, probably even thousands, like yourself out there right now, if government has to find, let's say, $250,000 per person or $1 million a person, there's no way the country would be able to pay that off. Yeah, there's no way the country would be able to pay it. So they're looking at a manageable level. So that at the end of these discussions, my friend, you'd be qualified for a gratuity, and you would receive your gratuity one time.
I still try to grip some of the interest. They might have to educate the people and then more and then things and then the situation, because I'm saying if I'm not qualified now and if I die at the age of 60 and a half, you know, how about they will give my family a gratuity? If I'm not qualified before.
Let me tell you, no, they're going to do it retroactively.
They're going to do it retroactively?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. They're going to do it retroactively. So for all of you who came into the service after the 22nd of February, 1985, they're going to be doing it retroactively. Every one of you is going to qualify for gratuity.
And they need to educate the workers, because you see, because people going to do a lot of process here, they don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand. That's why people are rebelling, so, you know.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand perfectly, my brother, and that's why I'm saying I really want this to finish quick, because the faster it finishes, the faster men like you get your money.
Because trust me, I mean, to make all these years, I still have 4 years. I make 34 already, and I still have 4 years in the service. And I make 34 years, and to leave and maybe not getting some a gratuity, thanks for me 38 years after, that is really hard.
It is. Believe me, I agree with you 9,000,000%.
Okay.
Okay, my brother.
Okay.
Nice. And I love calls like that, because it helps to bring clarity to the issue. He's worked 30-something years within the system. Yeah? Brother man, you make a lot of years. But what government is doing and what the unions are doing, and I keep saying government and the unions because there's no that it shouldn't happen on any side. Government is saying it must happen. Because remember, you have people like Skeeter, young Skeeter, 30-something years, but she made 16 years in the service, 14 or 16 years teaching. You have other people that made several years teaching. Not that they're going to benefit from it because they make the qualifying time. But you have people like the caller who just called that right now when they check, they're told, hey, you have no gratuity, because the 1985 Act would have removed gratuity. What government and the unions are saying now, put it back. Put back gratuity. The discussion now is on the level of gratuity that's being put back. So people like that caller would get their gratuity. And all the others who have left the service before or who are still in the service now but soon to retire on retirement would receive a gratuity. So the faster this thing finished, the faster people like them could receive their money. The faster the people, I know a lady walk up and down, she worked with the government of Grenada for how many years? And her problem was, even though she worked for X amount of years, for a point in time she was in unestablished, and then she was placed in the established. But she's saying, okay, I worked for 30-something years. But for nearly 10 years, out of that 30-something years, it was in an unestablished position. How do you deal with people like that? That's the discussions that are going on right now. We have a caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, caller.
So you're getting your pension 70% on what? Your best monthly salary?
Your last monthly salary.
Hello?
It's 70% of your last monthly salary.
Oh, your last monthly salary?
Yeah.
Because I know with NIS is your best 5 years.
But pensions are calculated on your last monthly salary. So whatever your last salary was when you retire.
So
because
the government is giving you on your last monthly.
It's going to be a combination, you know. It's going to be NIS paying part and government paying part to make sure that at the end of the month, what you receive in your account is 70% of your last salary that you have.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you that NIS paying you on your last 5 years, you know.
Yeah, but what the union is saying now, that you're taking into consideration what NIS is paying. But whatever you get, whatever government's contribution towards it will be, will mean that at the end of the month, you would be getting 70% of whatever your last salary was. Because remember, for instance, let's say it's a police officer. As a constable, they have one salary. Then they might become a corporal, they have another salary. Right. And let's say by the time they retire out of the service, they're at the level of superintendent. Yeah? So when they are superintendent, their salary is way higher than when there was a constable.
That's right.
So you're giving them 70% of what their last paycheck was. That would be the amount that they're getting every month.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
They wouldn't be getting 100% of it. They're getting 70% of what their last paycheck was.
Okay.
All right, my brother.
Right.
Nice, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting the opportunity to explain some of these things. I'm really glad I'm getting the opportunity to explain some of these things. That is what, because this is not a discussion just about who is in the system now. This is a discussion about many of the people who were in the system before. Yeah? This discussion goes on to some people who retired and who retired recently and who soon to retire and that sort of thing. So it goes on to them as well. But one of the main points here, and before I go any further, I have to say happy birthday to a friend of mine. Just remind me. Ben Up. Yeah, my good friend. Ben Up. Ben Up. Yeah, Minister Bowen's driver. Good morning to you, my brother. Yeah, my good friend Ron Dominic. He's celebrating his birthday today. I have to say a very special happy birthday to you, bro. Hope that you're having an absolutely wonderful one today. All right? Nice, beautiful. And oh gosh, the people on Facebook, sorry. I didn't pay attention to you all for a little while. Yeah? But I'm glad I'm getting the opportunity to explain a lot of this to two persons. So what is being discussed is increasing the amount that you pensioners who do not qualify for the 1950 pension, increasing it to a reasonable level for each and every one of you. Yeah? And remember, even if it's 70% of the last salary that you work for, if public workers get a 4% increase next year, your pension goes up by 4%. If public workers get a 2% the year after, or 3%, your pension goes up by 2 or 3%. So whatever the public workers and so get, your pension every year is going to increase by that amount. Yeah? And this part has already been agreed on by both sides. Yeah, the government has already agreed 70% pension. This has been agreed. The unions agree. The government agrees. So the discussion now is on the gratuity. And the caller a little while ago, he was saying, but what if I retire? No, so those who are out of the system already, and they now qualify after this is finalized and finished and all the hullabaloo and back and forth finish, after this is finalized and the gratuity is confirmed at a particular level, those persons would be receiving their gratuities. Yeah, retroactively. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Sheldon. Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
To the idea, buddy. I'm listening to you. I see you trying your best to see if you could clarify this thing for people. But you see, that's the same thing. Why is be at the last minute people in Grenada trying to understand something? Sheldon, that is my point. Why at the last minute? Look how hard you have to try to explain for people calling in because they don't understand this and they don't. That should have been done so long. You know? Because this 25%, what the people are asking for. You understand me? I don't feel people deserve 25% upfront for pension, you know. Because I feel you work, when you retire, they tell you, age 60, you start to collect your pension. So what Grenada is doing there, that's why the revolution get rid of it, you know, Sheldon. That's why the revolution has got rid of that and go to the NIS. Because they know this thing would have been a problem. Because now, this thing based on the 56 people who get their money, you know. So them feel, because these people gather their money, they want their money too. But they know it's total two different things. Two different things. Dr. Mitchell could have filed that case, you know, because H.A. Blaze run away from them thing. Listen to it. Brizan run away from it. Prophet run away from it. Think about it. Ben Jones run away from it. Right? Tillman run away from it. Right? Nazim run away from it. Dr. Mitchell go and say, well, No, they have to get something before you leave office. And they should glad to hear a prime minister say, before I leave office, the record is there, you know. I have it in me. Before I left office, I would like to see, you know, the people of Green Lake and Petit Martinique get a proper pension. And you know, today, people cursing him, Sheldon. People calling him all kind of name for that. You for your own good.
They actually call the cabinet that attempting to do this a criminal cabinet. Imagine that is what the president of the teachers union said. He called the cabinet a criminal cabinet. Said they're trying to do a criminal act, and said that they would be reported to the commissioner of police, like the commissioner of police.
I mean, Chester Humphrey and others who sat around the table, right, and come up with the NIS, which is a good thing. Yeah, because there's so much problem with that thing coming up for the future. That's why they try to get rid of this thing, because that's a soul. You can't tell people, I retire now, give me 25% now my money, I need my money up front. You don't do that for a pension. No part of the big world you do that. So why are we doing that? And I would like you to explain, Sheldon, in the Caribbean, which country does the same thing like Grenada? Give 25% up front. Because up to now, you guys don't say that. I listen to you and Devon, and I have to do some
research.
Call in and ask about it.
Yeah,
I would like you to research that and see how the other country deal with pension.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay?
Yes, sir, my brother. All right.
Then.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I've got to do some research in relation to that particular aspect, which other countries. But you have to understand something. So Eric Matthew Gary, he came through the trade union movement. So when he was putting things in place like the 1950 Pension Act and so, as a trade unionist, you'd have put a nice deal on the table for things like pension and that sort of thing. Yes, you had to understand, was uncle that was around them time there. All right? But yes, folks, I think that today a lot of persons are getting a clearer understanding of what is on the table. Yeah? One, the issue of pension is not an issue. That has been agreed upon. The issue here is the issue of gratuity and the level of gratuity. Some people are saying, okay, suppose I spend 30-something years in the service and I retire at the age of 48, 49, 50. So I still have to wait 10 years until I get my pension. What do I do in that period between 50 or 49 and 60? What do I do? Or, as is being recommended through the actuarial reports of the National Insurance Scheme, that the age of retirement is increased, what happens to the person who retires in their 40s or 50s and has to wait in the future until they're 62 or 63 or 60? In Barbados right now, I heard Minister speaking this morning, 67. What do they do in that space of time while they wait on their pension? They go out and work security. What they do? So that's why they're asking for proper compensation, gratuities. Now that is understood. No one is saying that they're not deserving of it. No one is saying that they don't understand the context in which the unions are speaking. But the unions also have to understand the context in which government is speaking. Because while we're having this discussion, there are literally thousands of people out here, the vast majority of Grenadians, who do not qualify for anything but a NIS pension. And only if we make the 500 contributions to the National Insurance Scheme. And let me say a good morning to you, Mr. Roy Ruffin. Yeah, my good friend. Hey, we have to link up sometime within the season, huh, my brother? Yeah, we have to make sure. I'll give you a call or you give me a call and we go link up during the season. We have a call online. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, morning caller.
All right, Sheldon.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard. Good morning to you and Devon.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you were giving an explanation a while ago, and it's not quite clear to me. With the young man that called and said that he's working, I think about 34 years or so.
Yeah.
And he was asking about the
gratuity.
The gratuity.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that you were saying that if he died, for example, the government will give family the monies?
those who made the time within the service and qualified already and may have died up to this point in time, their estates will have to be paid.
Okay.
Because remember, these persons qualified.
Okay.
And or will be qualified now when this is passed.
Okay.
Because what has to be done now, remember, even though the unions and government are having this discussion, there still has to be an act drafted and sent to Parliament, the lower and upper house, and then signed by the Governor General and gazetted to replace the law that's in place right now. The law that's in place right now does not give them that.
Okay.
But once government says okay and the union say okay, there has to be a law that's drafted to replace the law that exists right now. Once that happens, it has to go retroactively to those persons who were within the service, made the time, ought to have gotten a gratuity and so, and they would have died, that their estates have to be paid. Within the 56 people between 1983 and 1984, there may have been one or two people that qualified there that died, you know. But their estate, their children, or whoever had to be paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why government is saying this thing is not simple as in find the 25% and pay them.
Right.
It's not just who is, in fact, it's none of the people who jumping up right now because they ain't retired. They will retire in 10, 15, 20 years. I see some young teachers there just entered the service 4 or 5 years ago. Some of them get appointment letter earlier this year.
Okay. Yeah,
so they still have 26 years to make before they qualify for the pension and gratuity and that sort of thing. And according to the age, even longer than that.
Okay. Pertaining to the gratuity now, let's assume the government give them the 25%, right? We are just assuming that.
Yeah, just assuming.
Right. When it is a loan, when are they supposed to start repaying that loan?
This as soon as they get to the age of 60. When they get to the age of 60 and they start receiving pension, they would be receiving a reduced pension.
Because you see, these things, and Sheldon, these are basic things that a lot of people don't understand.
I agree.
What is happening. And I must applaud you this morning for taking the time off and making the effort to try to explain things to people. And somebody had sent me, well, it's a teacher. Did you see that, take a read of the section 92 of the Constitution?
Yeah, I've read section 92 and section 93 and section 84.
What does it mean by the Blaise government attempted to validate the pension?
No, what they did is they validated the laws that were passed under the People's Revolutionary Government. That's not in the Constitution, eh? That it doesn't, because the Constitution doesn't make reference to Blaise, or any Constitution was there before Blaise. The Constitution spoke to whatever law is in place at the point in time that you are appointed to the government service. Once that law, that is a law that you would have to abide by.
Because my main, main word there for me is the government attempt to validate.
No, but that's not in the Constitution. There's nothing about government attempting to validate in the Constitution. That is nowhere contained in there.
Well, it's a teacher that sent that for me.
They sent a document to you that is not the Constitution.
So
the Constitution of Grenada does not speak to these things. The Constitution of Grenada is like the skeleton. So it's the base of things. So the Constitution says public workers have pension, public workers are guaranteed a pension, and so on. And then it leaves it up to Parliament to make a law at what formula is used to give the public workers the pension. Whether it is you make 5 years within the government service and you could get a pension, or you make 20-something years. In fact, it was 33 years that they had to make. But all of that is contained in the laws, but not in the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't speak to figures, you know.
You see, one of my problems in Grenada, as a Grenadian, is that the people that are educated and is supposed to help the less fortunate to understand things, they abuse the situation and give people a lot of false information. Because I know for sure some people have been sending information for me, and so a lot of them. And I mean, I have a lot of friends that are teachers. And what I realize is that some people just misunderstood the whole thing.
But I wouldn't blame them, my
And
dear.
that's what I'm saying.
I think that they for themselves have been misinformed and should have taken the time, because the Constitution of Grenada is online.
Well, that is one of the things we have to encourage our people to do. Read a bit more.
Yeah, there's
if
nothing.
we read more, then we will understand more what is happening. Because when people try to explain things to us, most of the times, they just select what they want us to hear.
Yeah.
To tell us.
And that's why I always encourage persons to read for themselves. I don't want persons to take me as the oracle of information, because I'm not.
We just call it the deputy. We just say, well, let's go and listen to what the deputy PM had to say now. I'm telling you straight up, we just call it so.
But no, what I like people to do is to, when I say it, that they could go somewhere and say, yes, it's there for real. So I know the Constitution, and on the chat that we have going on right now on on Facebook, I'm going to put a link there in a while to the Constitution of Grenada. I'm also going to put a link there to the laws of Grenada, both of which are online. So people who are speaking can go there and read for themselves and understand that what we're saying here is the truth. We don't have to lie about anything. And if we're lying, we'd have been in court a long time ago. The unions would have taken government to court a long time ago, because it has said, well, there's a legal basis, let's take them to court.
Well, I do believe that the country don't have that kind of money right now. And if the government has to give I'm not saying that they're not entitled. I'd be happy for them if they could get it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that I heard somebody, there was a program once on GBN, and this gentleman was saying, nobody knows how long they're going to live for, and the people should get their money and what their gratuity and so. And sometimes I just ask the question, if they get a lump sum of money and they die now, who has to pay that back?
Well,
we have to look at it on both sides.
That's it, because remember, at the end of the day, the money that you're speaking about there,
I can't pay more tax now.
It's me and you that have to pay it.
Yeah, I really can't pay more tax now.
I don't know about you, but I do not qualify for a government pension. And at the age I am right now, even if I were appointed to a position in the public service right now, I still would not qualify for a government pension at the present length of period of time that someone has to work to qualify. I would not be able to qualify. So me have no pension to get.
Well,
there's no pension discussion for me outside of the national insurance scheme.
Yeah, I was. Because government decided to give them 70% of the last salary, right? Where government is going to get its money?
Well, my dear, I think right now, well, not I think, but I know that there are certain things on the table. There's some documentation the unions have requested by Friday. They've also supposed to be some proposals or what's sent by next week Tuesday as well, for them to meet next week Friday around the table again.
I heard about it last night.
But I'm glad though that the general membership and the general public out there is having a clearer understanding now of this issue. And I think it's always a good thing in a democratic society when people can discuss issues.
But another question is, could you just brief me, what percentage does NIS give on salary? Do you know it offhand?
I can't remember I can't remember offhand. I can check the law and be sure on it. I could check the law in a little while and let you know before the end of the 7 minutes remaining, but before the end of the program. I could try to get that and let you know.
Because Dr. Mitchell have been talking about the if they pay the money, then we have to increase tax and we have to cut down on a lot of things. But I am still saying, we make the contribution, your employer make 5%, the employee give the 4% into NIS, right? If you have to get a pension, you get parts of the pension will be coming up from the NIS, right?
Yes.
And government put in the difference.
Yes.
Right? But the whole thing about it, the government have to put the difference. Government have to get that money somewhere.
Yeah, you must.
So that means that some little tax will have to come in again.
And you're speaking of...
And I hope Dr. Mitchell isn't doing... Yes, he's being sympathetic. I find that it's more sympathy than being realistic.
But here's what, remember, additionally, we're saying put a little money again. But every time the public workers get an increase, the pensioners get an increase too, So when you say, okay, they negotiate for 4% or 5% or 3%, and you see they get a little extra $100, $200, $300 on their salary or whatever, that means the pensioners also get additional $100, $200, $300 on their pension as well. But remember, the money has to come from somewhere.
Somewhere. So that means we still have that burden
Yeah.
of taxes or whatever. Because I know there are some young people that are collecting monies now, pension, because after the revolution, they were teachers and whatever, and they got fired. And they're sitting there at a very young age, enjoying that luxury, and every time there is an increase, they get that increase too. So I understand Dr. Mitchell has been very sympathetic. He understands the cost of living is very high in Grenada, which we cannot deny. But the thing about it, once that money has to be paid, something will come up, some tax or whatever. I guess he's trying to see how he could minimize it as much as possible. But we cannot sit there and believe that there wouldn't be an increase. There would have to be an increase to pay that.
Well,
and I'm trying to figure out maybe
you see,
sometimes people kind of just cut their tail.
No, but you see, when government had said 2%, it was understanding that if it is done at that level now, and we're not saying that's going to be the permanent level from now until the end of time. You're saying it's 2% now.
No,
that
I'm not talking about the gratuity. My concern is with the pension that the government have to put that additional amount.
Yeah,
and
but
in order to be able to do that, we will have to pay more tax.
Well,
we have no industries here.
Well, that is a distinct possibility.
Shall I never leave you alone?
No, I'm saying that is a distinct possibility, but you can also look at other creative ways of generating additional revenue.
Okay.
That could sort of push that to the side, that you don't have to go and put on additional taxes. That's why government is trying to restore it, yes. To ensure that people get something, yes, but do it in a responsible manner so that you don't bust the bank doing it.
Exactly, because if you go in bank for a loan, you can't tell them you don't want 2% and you want 25%, you know.
Yeah.
You have to accept what they give you.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a loan, try to compromise. And
what is sometimes you have to beg them. But anyway,
but
yeah, later,
Okay.
Folks, we're quickly running out of time, but I just wanted to mention two things that I see floating around out there right now. One, and before I go any further than that too, let me say special good morning to Karaku, the Honorable Kate Skeeter-Lewis. I know you're over there with the Imani graduation and the youth parliament that's taking place in Karaku today. Lisa Marie, I see you as one of the parliamentarians. That looking nice. Nice. Yeah. One, the issue of Scotia Bank. You have a lot of people that seem to have a lack of understanding of the issue. Scotia Bank has been bought by Republic Bank. Not just here in Grenada, wherever there's a Scotia Bank in the Caribbean, be it Jamaica or Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda or St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Montserrat, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana. Wherever there's a Scotia Bank in the region, it now technically belongs to Republic Bank. Yeah? Although that sale in most territories is based on government approval. The government has to approve the sale for it to take place because it is happening within their regulatory framework in their financial space, in their country. So government has to approve the sale, but by and large, Republic Bank has bought that. Yeah? But it's not the government of Grenada sell Republic Bank. Government of Grenada don't own Republic Bank. I see some nonsensical statements being made there about, government sell Republic Bank. How could government sell a bank they don't own? Government don't own Republic Bank. All you all have to read. Government did not own Republic Bank. It can't sell something it don't. Well, if you listen as in book and the building on. Who was Minister of Finance at the time that sell a building? No, not Dr. Mitchell. This Minister of Finance ain't selling things that he don't own. He would not do that. All right? So it is not true that the government sells Scotia Bank. Scotia Bank sells Scotia Bank. Yeah? So, all you jump on with that. Behave yourself, eh? Right. The second thing is I'm seeing a video circulating, and I'm going to make sure that before the end of today, the long version of that video is circulating, giving the impression that Dr. Mitchell said he's giving himself a raise in salary. That is untrue. The Prime Minister spoke about salaries of the various ministers and to the fact that the various ministers work for a salary that is less than other people in the ministry. So you have a person who's in charge of the ministry, yeah, who creates the policy and so on, who dictates what goes on within the ministry, and that individual is working for a salary that on a yearly basis is $20-something thousand less than the salary of the permanent secretary who reports to them. And even the permanent secretary and the minister sometimes work for a salary that's less than some other people in the ministry. You have people, for instance, in the Ministry of Legal Affairs. You'd have some people there that work for a salary that's more than the salary of the Prime Minister. No joke. Or other technical positions within either, might be the Ministry of Finance, might be another ministry. You have people that work in certain positions, and remember when unions negotiate the salary going up to the politicians have no union negotiating, the salary remained the same since 1997. You have increases in salary going on for the other public workers, but the PM's salary and the minister's salary does not go up. The Prime Minister said it's time to address this issue. So he is going to address the issue of salaries overall for the various ministers. Yeah? So he's going to address that issue. But that he personally will not be taking an increase. The man stood up in Parliament and on more than one occasion during his delivery on that particular issue, the Prime Minister said, I will not take, he said, the next person who comes as Prime Minister after me, they will benefit from the increase. I ain't taking it. He said that. But you have some unscrupulous, gutless people out there who cut out where he say that he would not be taking it and circulating it right now. Well, here's what. You all know who they are. And you all seeing who's sharing it. So you all know, anytime you hear anything from those individuals, they lie. Don't trust them. You know, anytime you see anything from those individuals, to watch it with not one lizard eye, watch it with a whole yard full of gone eye. Yeah, watch it with an eye and eye. Because these individuals are out there to mislead and to lie. He clearly said. And we're going to ensure that we circulate the video, Mr. Benjamin. We're going to ensure that we circulate that video by the end of the day today. Because he never said that he was going to take an increase on himself. In fact, he said even if they increase the Prime Minister's salary while he is there, he's not going to accept the difference. He's going to remain taking what it is that he's getting right now. And the difference, I think he said he'd send it to a home or some sort of thing like that. Let them take the rest and send it, give it to a home or help some children to go to school. Because that's the way the Prime Minister operates. He doesn't even, his salary that he gets on a monthly basis. You know how much children going to school right now that he send them? You know how much university and all kind of thing he pay for? That's what he does. So I'm going to make sure, in fact, somebody's asking for me to play it in a clip tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that I play it in a clip tomorrow for all of you. But I just wanted to clarify those two issues before we leave today. Hopefully Devon would be back with us tomorrow. I hope you are okay. I had to call my brethren and see what's going on. Yeah. So Devon will be back with us tomorrow, God's willing, and we'll continue to have a discussion. To all of you, wherever you are, we hope that you all have a wonderful day today. Yeah. And you know, all this talk we're talking, we ain't talk about the unestablished staff in the government services. Thousands of people that paying the Public Workers Union and they on the unestablished. So the discussion right now about pension and thing ain't fully cover them. You know, that is phase 2. You have to get rid of phase 1 before you start phase 2 to ensure that they're getting a pension and thing too. Yeah? Imagine people telling you they used to be there when Uncle Gary, they used to serve tea for Uncle Gary and thing back in those days. And then they leave the service and they was unestablished and they ain't had nothing major again. I mean, come on, man. You expect any government to stay there and just watch that and decide you ain't doing anything about that? Has to be dealt with. So to the unions, we hope that they continue along the path that they have gone on this week. That one where they're having that nice discussion, and there's this discussion between both sides and so on in an amicable manner. And so we hope that that continues and that this issue is extinguished very soon, so that the people like my friend who called there and he working for 30-something years, that he could, when he retire, he could decide he retired, and when he retire and he reaches 60, that he could get a nice little pension, and that as soon as he retire, he could get his gratuity. Folks, that, and you know, because the parliamentarians have to wait until they meet the required age before they get their pension too. They don't just get it as soon as they leave. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It's been wonderful being here with each and every one of you. Love you all of you online. You know I love you all immensely. Vale, I see you just jump on there. Love you all immensely. Immensely. And all of you who have called in, who have been listening silently today, we thank each and every one of you. From myself and our in-studio operator, Mr. Nazim Antonio Benjamin, we'd like to thank each and every one of you. And whatever you say and whatever you do it safe and secure, because we want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Love you all immensely.
Negotiations between Pension Engagement Committee and trade unions and staff associations to resume on Friday, December 7th. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Government's Pension Engagement Committee met today, November 27th, with the public sector trade unions and staff associations engaged in negotiations with government on pension restoration and reform. At the meeting, it was agreed that the Pension Engagement Committee will provide requested data to the trade unions and staff associations by Friday, November 30th. It was also agreed that the Pension Engagement Committee will provide new proposals on pension restoration and reform to the trade unions and staff associations by Tuesday, December 4th, 2018. The Pension Engagement Committee and trade unions and staff associations also agreed that negotiations will resume on Friday, December 7th, 2018. And further, there will be no industrial action while the negotiations are ongoing. Both the government and the workers' representative bodies have recommitted themselves to finding an amicable solution to the issue of pension restoration and reform. An expansion of rooms and more flights to Grenada, a few of the benefits that will come with the acquisition of majority shares in the Grenadian by Rex Resorts by Sunwing Travel Group with its regional hotel brand Royalton. Close to $80 million have been invested in this project. December 1st will witness the rebranding of the Grenadian by Rex Resort to the company's brand Starfish, with the official opening in December of 2019. CEO and President of Sunwing Travel, Stephen Hunter, says they're happy to be partnering with the government to provide the service to Grenada, which will assist in the enhancement of the country's tourism product.
Starfish is one of our many brands that we use throughout the Caribbean. That'll help increase the distribution of the hotel rooms worldwide. It will also help to give a lot more employment this year as well. The biggest news that we've agreed on as of 5 minutes ago is that starting April of this year, the hotel will be shut down and we will be renovating the whole hotel and adding another 60 rooms to the hotel to bring the total inventory up to close to 300 rooms. This is an investment of close to $80 million by the Sunwing Travel Group and will be reopened next winter of 19 as the Royalton Grenada.
Sunwing Travel will also allow for weekly flights from Toronto to Grenada. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell says expansion and upgrade of the Grenadian by Rex Resorts was high on the government's agenda to boost the hotel sector. He believes that the decision will bring many benefits to Grenada and the tourism industry.
I'm happy that the fact that Stevens Group now has indicated they will be expanding the property. They'll be given serious construction and renovation will be taking place, which will provide enormous amount of jobs.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatalities. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Continuing the news, public officers will receive 70% of their last salary. That commitment by Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, during a national address on Tuesday. Dr. Mitchell dismissed claims that government has gone back on the terms outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding signed by all parties involved in the pension negotiations. He said the agreement that public officers will receive a pension of not less than 70% of their last salary is still valid. Dr. Mitchell warned against mischievous individuals who are spreading fake news about the current impasse between unions and government on the pension negotiations.
The widely spewed narrative that government has somehow gone back on an understanding outlined in this MOU is certainly fake news generated by mischief makers. Government remains fully committed to ensuring that public officers receive a pension of at least 70% of their last salary. The outstanding issue about pension reform and what is it at the heart of the current impasse is whether and to what extent government can afford an upfront loan to retiring public officers. That is called an advance payment of pension, what is currently being referred to as gratuity.
Dr. Mitchell says government and trade unions will decide on the advanced payment amount, but workers are guaranteed the agreed pension amount will be paid.
Whatever the final loan size and the schedule for repayment at the end of the period, workers will receive all pensions due to them, which is that we have agreed is at least 70% of the last salary. Therefore, sisters and brothers, the suggestion that government's inability to give a 25% loan as an advance payment of pension means that workers will lose is totally false.
An increase in road networking, the launch of the new Tyrrell Bay Port facility, the distribution of Crown lands to citizens' assistance in house repair program, an improvement in agriculture and youth development. Just some of the many projects highlighted by the Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, the Honourable Kindra Mathurin Stewart, during her contribution to the 2019 budget. Land distribution was a priority following the 2018 election. Minister Mathurin Stewart says it is important that citizens benefit from Crown lands, some of which have already been paid for.
Mr. Speaker, very recently, over 182 persons from Carriacou and Petite Martinique received official letters of authorization to begin the absolute ownership to various lots of Crown land in Carriacou. Mr. Speaker, this has been a very long outstanding matter, dating all the way back, Mr. Speaker, to 2008, Mr. Speaker. In 2008, Mr. Speaker, this government would have approved various persons in Carriacou and Petite Martinique to purchase Crown lands. Mr. Speaker, as a result of that, many persons went ahead. Some paid the entire purchase price. Some paid some. Some went to lending institutions. Mr. Speaker, some even started occupation and possession of those lots of land. Mr. Speaker, these lands were taken away by the NDC administration from the people in 2008 when they assumed office. And Mr. Speaker, this issue was one of the first issues that I dealt with upon being elected as the Member of Parliament for Carriacou.
Minister Stewart says the government has invested heavily in the construction of roads both in Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
We also saw the construction of 300 feet of concrete road and drains in the Petite Martinique main road, the Petite Martinique area. We saw, Mr. Speaker, completion of various slipper drains, solution drains throughout the length and breadth of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Mr. Speaker, very recently, 300 feet of concrete road and solution drain was undertaken and completed in the Mount Pleasant area. 300 feet of concrete drain and road and slipper drain, Mr. Speaker, was completed in the Bellevue South area. Speaking about Petite Martinique, Mr. Speaker, over 400 feet of concrete road and a retaining wall was done in Petite Martinique. Mr. Speaker, we had the resurfacing of the Dover Top Road, the resurfacing of the Mount Royal Top Road. We also had rehabilitation work to a community system in Leicester. And Mr. Speaker, presently under construction is a Hillsborough solution drain, the construction of 300 feet of road in the Bossiju area is what we know as the Power Station Road, and the remaining, Mr. Speaker, 650 feet of road in the Bellevue South area. Mr. Speaker, this will actually complete the Bellevue South Road, and it is our hope that this road will be completed in time for Christmas.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.